we always start off with a Maxim from Chateau Heartiste. And today's Maxim is Maxim number 21. And all this is foundational stuff. Maxim number 21. In the quest for romance, boldness overcomes a lot of personal flaws. Timidity swamps a lot of personal virtues. Again, nothing foundational. The core essence of all game and attraction to women is irrational self-confidence. You literally have to be more confident in yourself than is rationally possible. When you develop that, and again, it has to be inside out. Generally, guys go, well, I haven't really accomplished anything. That's okay. You can fake it till you make it in game. Game is a very unique endeavor that you can go further just believing what is going on in the background. Because one, girls can't read your mind. Two, there's no resume. Three, really, all she can read is your behaviors. So if you can control your behaviors and behave like an alpha, women will believe, no matter what's going on in your own head, you are an alpha. And that's the difference. But you have to also look at it. It's much like when you're developing yourself in a sport. Let's say you're a pitcher. You have to believe you're a better pitcher than you are. You have to imagine yourself playing on a college team. You have to imagine yourself playing in a major league stadium. You have to imagine yourself pitching the World Series. A lot of this helps move you up mentally and keeps you engaged in the game, even when you're still working your way through little league and high school ball. When you're working your way up and improving yourself, you still have to imagine yourself playing at the highest levels. And very much is the same with game. You have to imagine yourself playing at the highest levels, being as smooth as you can, entertaining multiple women, having multiple women chasing you. And over time, your habits, your behaviors, the words you say, the way you act, and the way you carry yourself through the world starts matching up with this. And women don't know the difference between a guy who's an actual alpha and a guy who has developed, or we should say natural, and a guy who has developed those skills over time through his own efforts. Again, boldness will overcome courage, taking action, approaching a girl. Again, you would be surprised that, you guys don't see as much of this as I do, but on a daily basis, there's girls, what would you say? Their feedback is, I wasn't really interested in him until he approached me. And it's in the approaching, it's in the fact that he stepped forward and pulled himself out of this morass of non-humans that she never sees and attempted to pick her up, or at least introduced himself, or at least said hi. He's setting himself apart. And it's small things like that built up over time that move you. I mean, if you don't introduce yourself, you're never going to get to know her. And again, you have to show some semblance of boldness, of ability to take action, because the shit's not going to fall into your lap. And I think a lot of guys get stuck thinking that the girl's going to come knock on his door while he's playing video games and being fat. And that's not how it works. And then they get mad because nobody's knocking on their door to introduce themselves. You have to go out into the world and make things happen. It overcomes a lot of personal flaws. You can be a fucking mess. But again, just like most guys, like we kind of convey, is you don't have to have money. You don't have to have that much charm. You don't have to be a dancing monkey. You simply have to take the actions and in the sequence and move her from complete stranger to in your bed. And it's a plug and play system once you look at it from an overview. There's no mystery here. But timidity, unfortunately, swamps a lot of personal virtues. Again, you can see guys that we would, in our minds, consider to be alpha. They're physically imposing, say they have a military background, They're a leader of men. They make great money. They drive a nice sports car. All of the things that you go, God, this guy's probably got it going on. But when he goes home, his 250-pound wife is yelling at him, and he has no idea how to manage her. And that is the majority of cases, as opposed to a guy who's kind of a pothead and probably, not making good money, works at Jiffy Lube, sells weed out in the back, but he's got a rotation of like 3 or 4 girls coming over to fuck on the mattress on the floor. Again, that's alpha, because that's the measurement. I mean, you can have all the outside projection of what men think of as alpha, but on the inside, it's just not there, because the inside game, the inner game, isn't there. And that's what this really comes down to, is in the quest for romance, your inner game is as important, if not more important, than your outer game, because inner game gives you that charisma, the ability to speak to girls that most guys would walk right past, and never make eye contact because they're intimidated. Boldness itself, and in the taking of action, and in the believing you can, overcomes a lot, if not all, personal flaws. And timidity will hamstring even the sharpest, most genetically gifted could-be player, and it can just shut him down again. And then you start getting negative feedback. You see it all the time in the gyms. I mean, guys always go, just go to the gym, lift weights, get jacked, and the girls will come. And I know from owning gyms, on Friday and Saturday night, you have very good-looking, accomplished, successful, professionally well-built men at 9 o'clock on a Saturday lifting weights and not out meeting women. And no, they're not going out afterwards either. I always get knuckleheads jumping in going, well, maybe they're going out later, The fact is that if you look at, because I started to wonder, I was like, what is going on here? They all have one trait, and that's they're shy. They tend to be very quiet. They tend to stick to themselves. They are not outgoing enough, even if it's just simply in that instance, they were all socially awkward, not crazy awkward, but just shy enough that they were not able to project themselves out into the world and get involved with women. And it happens all the time. It's the vast majority. We are the minority. But that's the real deal when it comes to Maxim number 21. If you have a choice to take action or to set back and be conservative and not risk any harm, you need to default to action. And you can take the action, then you can go forward from there. If it goes bad, that's okay. You can recover. You just do it again. But again, 9 times out of 10, it will go well for you, and then you're moving in the right direction. That's Chateau Heartiste Maxim number 21. In the quest for romance, boldness overcomes a lot of personal flaws. Timidity swamps a lot of personal virtues. Again, if you have any questions,